If you've ever trained hard, eaten right, and still felt like your body was working against you, this video is for you. Metabolism is not luck, not age, and not something you broke. It's a system that reacts to how you eat, how you train, and how you recover. In the next minutes, you'll learn what actually controls metabolic speed, how food changes energy output, and how training and recovery turn metabolism into an advantage instead of a limitation. Watch while you work out and learn while you train. Part 1. Metabolism speed, what it really means and what sets it. When people say, "My metabolism is fast," or "mine is slow," they're usually describing results, not a permanent label. Metabolism is simply how your body uses energy to stay alive and to power everything you do, from thinking to training. A calorie is just a unit that measures energy, like a centimeter measures length. Energy expenditure means energy spent. If you have fitness goals, the big shift is realizing metabolism is not luck and not a personality trait. It is a system with parts you can influence. To make metabolism practical, you need one more term: total daily energy expenditure. That means the total energy you burn across an entire day, not just what happens in the gym. It includes your baseline burn at rest, your movement outside workouts, your training sessions, and the energy cost of processing food. This is why two people can follow the same plan and still get different outcomes. Their daily totals differ because hidden pieces differ. When you manage the daily total, results become predictable. The baseline piece is your resting metabolism, often described as resting metabolic rate. This is the energy your body uses at rest to keep systems running: heartbeat, breathing, temperature control, and the constant work of organs. A large share comes from high-demand organs like the brain, liver, heart, and kidneys. That's why resting metabolism tracks strongly with fat-free mass, meaning everything that is not fat, including muscle, organs, bone, and water. Bigger bodies usually have higher resting costs. Muscle matters, but you want the truth, not the hype. Adding muscle can raise resting energy expenditure, but the change is usually modest, and it takes time. The real metabolic advantage of muscle is that it protects your progress when you diet and expands what you can do in training. More muscle helps you maintain strength, tolerate more training volume, and keep body composition improving while cutting fat. For bodybuilding goals, muscle is less about becoming a calorie furnace and more about building a bigger, stronger engine you can drive harder. Practically, that means you don't chase a metabolism booster to get leaner. You chase better training quality, better recovery, and more total work capacity over months. Body size changes the math in a practical way. Moving a larger body costs more energy, so someone heavier can often lose fat while eating more than someone lighter. As you diet down and body mass drops, daily energy needs usually drop too. That is not metabolic damage. It is the normal consequence of having less mass to maintain and less mass to move. If you're advanced and already lean, that drop feels bigger because margins are smaller, so precision and recovery become the main game. Now, meet the biggest hidden variable: non-exercise activity thermogenesis, usually shortened to NEAT. This is all movement that is not formal exercise, like walking around, standing, pacing during calls, cleaning, taking stairs, fidgeting, and even how often you change posture. NEAT can vary massively between people and also within the same person from week to week. During a calorie deficit, many people unconsciously move less, sit more, and fidget less. That hidden drop can erase a deficit you thought was locked in, even if your workouts feel heroic. So you use a simple strategy. Treat steps like training volume. Pick a daily step target you can repeat on busy days, tired days, and low motivation days. Then keep it steady while you adjust food intake. For many people, a range like 8,000 to 12,000 steps works well, but the best target is the one you can actually hit consistently. Beginners get reliability and momentum. Advanced athletes get cleaner data when dialing in a cut or a lean bulk because the background burn stays steady while you manipulate other variables. Exercise activity is the movement you schedule: lifting, cardio, sports, classes. The key is that training is not only about calories burned during the session. Strength training is a body composition tool because it signals your body to keep or build muscle, especially during a deficit. A solid template for most lifters is 3 to 5 strength sessions per week, using challenging sets that end close to technical failure. For big compound lifts, sets of roughly 5 to 10 reps are a strong staple, and for accessory lifts, 8 to 15 reps often lets you accumulate quality work without beating up joints. Cardio fits in, but it has to fit the system. Cardio burns energy during the session, but if you ramp it too hard, fatigue rises and NEAT often drops, so the net effect is smaller than you expect. The practical move is to start with steps and strength training, then add cardio like a precision tool. 2 to 4 cardio sessions per week can work well, with intensity chosen to match recovery, and with the goal of keeping lifting performance stable. If your lifts are sliding, sleep is worse, and steps are falling, you're not broken, your total stress is too high and something has to give. Food processing is another piece people forget. The thermic effect of food, or TEF. This is the energy cost of digesting, absorbing, and storing what you eat. Protein has a higher thermic effect than carbs and fats, meaning a larger slice of its calories is spent during processing. This does not break energy balance, but it can make fat loss easier by improving fullness and helping you retain muscle. A useful practice is spreading protein across the day because muscle repair responds better to repeated protein doses than to one giant hit at night, especially if you train hard. Now let's talk about the metabolic slowdown people feel during fat loss, because it is real, but it is not a curse. When you eat in a deficit, your body adapts by lowering energy expenditure. Part of that is simply being lighter. Part of it is the body nudging behavior, less spontaneous movement, more fatigue, stronger hunger signals. This is adaptive thermogenesis. It does not mean your metabolism is broken. It means the body is responding predictably, and your job is to manage the response by keeping training performance, steps, and recovery from collapsing at the same time. Since you probably do not have a lab, you need a field method to estimate maintenance intake. One day of scale weight is noise because water, glycogen, sodium, stress, and digestion can swing it. Track morning body weight for at least 2 weeks, then look at the weekly average trend. Pair that with a consistent estimate of your intake across the same period, and keep your step target consistent while you do it. If your average weight is stable, you are near maintenance. If it trends down, you are in a deficit. If it trends up, you are in a surplus. Most slow metabolism stories are measurement stories. People undercount calories without noticing, especially oils, drinks, sauces, and snacks that do not feel like real food. Others diet hard during the week, then rebound eat when fatigue and hunger peak, landing at maintenance by accident. Some add cardio, but then NEAT falls because they are tired, so the net burn barely changes. None of this is a moral failure. It is normal physiology plus modern environments. And the fix is honest tracking, steady steps, and a plan you can repeat without white-knuckling it. The practical levers that move the needle are boring in the best way. Build or protect lean mass with progressive strength training. You can repeat week after week, aiming for enough hard sets to grow without burying recovery. Keep NEAT stable with a step target and a routine that does not trap you in a chair all day. Use protein to support muscle and satiety and avoid extreme deficits that crush training performance and spike adaptation. When you do those things, metabolism speed stops being a mystery and becomes a dial you can turn with intention. In the next part, we'll use nutrition to turn that dial without sacrificing performance. Part 2. How nutrition influences metabolism. Food is not just fuel, it's information. Every time you eat, you send signals that shape hunger, energy, movement, and how hard you can train. When intake is too low for too long, your body doesn't only burn less, it also changes behavior. You sit more, fidget less, choose convenience over movement, and your workouts lose their snap. When intake supports performance, you naturally move more and push harder. and that raises daily energy expenditure without you forcing it. For physique goals, nutrition is the lever that keeps your body behaving like an athlete instead of slipping into battery saver mode. Calories are the steering wheel because your body adapts to the state you keep it in. In a surplus, energy expenditure often rises because you carry more mass, recover better, and tend to move more without thinking about it. At maintenance, output feels steadier because sleep and training quality are easier to protect, so your steps and gym sessions stay consistent. In a deficit, expenditure usually drifts down as the body saves energy and appetite gets louder. None of this is metabolic damage. It is normal adaptation, and you can manage it by choosing an approach you can repeat. The size of the deficit is where most people accidentally crush results. An aggressive cut can deliver fast-scale changes early, but it ramps up fatigue, increases food focus, and drops non-exercise activity, so the planned deficit shrinks in real life. Training quality falls, and that raises the risk of losing muscle, which makes the physique outcome worse, even if body weight drops. A moderate deficit is usually smarter. You can strength train 3 to 5 times per week, keep steps steady, and keep enough energy to maintain performance. For advanced athletes, that performance is the difference between staying lean and just getting smaller. Protein has a unique metabolic role because it touches multiple levers at once. Digesting protein costs more energy than digesting carbs or fats, which raises the thermic effect of food. More importantly, protein provides amino acids to repair and build muscle, and lean mass supports your metabolic baseline and your ability to train hard. Protein also improves satiety, which helps you stay consistent when calories are tight. If your goal is a lean, muscular look, protein is infrastructure, not a trendy hack. It keeps your metabolism supported by protecting the tissue that makes training productive. Make protein practical by choosing a daily target you can hit even on chaotic days, then distributing it across meals. For many lifters, a useful range is roughly 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, adjusted for digestion and preference. Spread that across 3 to 5 meals so muscle repair gets repeated inputs instead of one late-night dump. A protein-rich meal within a few hours after training supports recovery when your body is actively rebuilding. If you hate early meals, that's fine. Just make later meals higher protein and keep the daily total consistent. Carbohydrates influence metabolism mainly by influencing output. Carbs refill glycogen, the stored carbohydrate in muscle and liver that powers higher intensity work. When glycogen is low, you can still train, but you often lose reps, reduce volume, and feel flat. That decreases training stimulus and can reduce daily movement because fatigue rises and spontaneous activity drops. If you are trying to gain muscle or hold on to it while cutting, carbs often decide whether your sessions feel confident or like survival. When training output drops, metabolism often drops indirectly because you move less and train with less intensity. Use carbs strategically by matching them to training demand. If you lift 3 to 5 days per week and you care about performance, place a meaningful portion of your carbs around training. A pre-workout meal 1 to 3 hours before lifting that includes carbs and protein can improve strength endurance, especially for sessions built around sets of 5 to 10 reps on compound lifts and 8 to 15 reps on accessories. After training, carbs help restore glycogen, so tomorrow's workout feels strong and your daily steps feel lighter. If you do extra cardio or sport sessions, carbs become even more valuable for keeping total weekly output high. Dietary fat is essential, but metabolically quiet. Fats do not have as high a thermic effect as protein, and they are calorie-dense, which means portions matter. But fats support hormone production, cell membranes, and absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, and they make meals satisfying enough to repeat without feeling deprived. Extremely low fat intake can worsen mood, sleep, and adherence, which indirectly lowers daily movement and training quality. A practical baseline for many lifters is keeping at least around 0.6 grams of fat per kilogram of body weight per day, then adjusting up or down based on preference and total calories. Food quality influences metabolism through appetite control and tracking accuracy. Ultra-processed foods are easy to overeat because they are energy-dense, highly palatable, and often low in fiber and water. That makes fullness unreliable, and it makes tracking messy because sauces, snacks, and tiny bites add up fast. Whole foods with fiber tend to stabilize hunger and energy, which helps you keep steps, training output, and recovery consistent. This is not about perfection or fear of ingredients. It is about making adherence easier and your calories in more predictable. Predictability is a metabolism advantage because it reduces reactive swings. Fiber is a quiet performance enhancer for dieting because it makes the plan feel easier. Fiber adds volume, slows digestion, and reduces the chance you are starving 2 hours after eating. That matters metabolically because hunger drives behavior. When you are hungry and tired, you move less and you make worse decisions under stress. Aiming for a reasonable daily fiber intake from fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains can keep energy steadier and protect non-exercise activity. Increase fiber gradually and pair it with enough fluids because a sudden jump can make your gut feel like it's protesting your fitness goals. Meal timing is not a magic trick, but it can support metabolic rhythm by protecting performance and sleep. If you train early, a small carb and protein meal before training can boost output and reduce the chance you compensate later by moving less. If you train later, fueling earlier in the day prevents the drained feeling that turns workouts into low-quality sessions. Late-night heavy meals can disrupt sleep for some people, and poor sleep often increases hunger and reduces activity the next day. The point is simple. Time meals to support training quality and sleep quality because those two drive the behaviors that keep metabolism high. Diet phases change metabolism because they change what your body can afford to do. In a cutting phase, the priority is keeping strength and muscle while fat comes off, so protein stays high, lifting stays challenging, and the deficit stays sustainable. In a lean bulk, the priority is increasing training volume and recovery, so a small surplus supports more total work and better progression without excessive fat gain. Maintenance phases are underrated because they restore performance and movement without you needing to push calories down or up aggressively. That restoration often shows up as better steps, better sessions, and better consistency. Diet breaks and refeeds are tools, not miracles. A short period of higher calories can help you train harder, sleep better, and stick to the long plan, especially during long cuts. The main benefit is often psychological and performance-based. More energy, less food obsession, and higher movement. Some people see a temporary bump in expenditure because they naturally move more, not because metabolism resets overnight. Use these tools when adherence is slipping, training is stalling, or fatigue is climbing, and treat them as a planned strategy rather than an unplanned binge. Done right, they protect consistency, which protects results. If you want nutrition to support metabolism, think like a system manager. Keep protein high enough to protect muscle, because muscle is your long-term ally for both performance and physique. Keep the deficit moderate enough that you can still train 3 to 5 times per week with real intensity and keep steps steady. Use carbs to fuel output around hard sessions and keep fats above a sensible minimum for health and adherence. Build most meals around minimally processed foods and fiber so hunger stays manageable and your plan stays repeatable. When nutrition supports output and adherence, metabolism stops feeling mysterious and starts feeling steerable. Part 3. Training and Recovery. How movement reshapes metabolism. Training is not just a way to burn calories. It's a regulator that tells your body what kind of machine it needs to be. The same person can have wildly different daily energy expenditure depending on whether they train consistently or not, even if body weight is the same. That's because exercise changes behavior, recovery needs, and the amount of movement you do without thinking. One hard session can raise energy use that day, but the real power is chronic. Weeks of consistent training increase your capacity for work, make movement feel easier, and keep your body investing energy into performance instead of conserving it. You need to separate acute and chronic effects. Acute means what happens in the hours after a session. Your heart rate stays elevated, your body repairs tissue, and you refill energy stores. Chronic means what changes over time: more muscle, better conditioning, higher training volume tolerance, and often more daily movement. If you only chase the acute burn, you'll choose random sweaty workouts and wonder why your physique does not change. If you build chronic adaptations, you can train 3 to 5 days per week, progress your lifts, keep steps high, and make your metabolism predictable instead of emotional. Resistance training is the anchor for body composition because it protects muscle when calories drop and supports muscle gain when calories rise. During a deficit, your body looks for ways to save energy, and muscle is expensive tissue. Lifting sends a clear message: keep this muscle, it's needed. That is why strength training is not optional if you want a lean and muscular look. A simple, effective structure is 3 to 5 strength sessions per week, built around compound lifts with sets in the range of 5 to 10 reps, plus accessory work in the range of 8 to 15 reps, taken close to technical failure. Here's the important nuance: lifting does not skyrocket resting metabolism overnight. The bigger benefit is metabolic stability. When you keep strength and muscle while dieting, your resting energy expenditure tends to fall less, and your body is more likely to maintain high-quality movement. Also, your training sessions stay productive, which keeps you motivated and consistent. That consistency protects NEAT because you're less likely to feel drained and collapse into low movement days. In other words, strength training keeps the whole system from spiraling into low energy, low output, low results. Muscle mass is metabolic resilience. Think of it as a buffer that lets you diet without looking and performing like you're shrinking. With more muscle, you can lose fat while maintaining strength, which keeps training quality high and helps you keep moving outside the gym. Muscle also improves nutrient partitioning, meaning more of what you eat is directed toward recovery and muscle repair instead of being stored as fat, especially when training is consistent. That doesn't mean carbs become muscle only, but it means your body handles energy more like an athlete and less like a storage unit. Now let's talk about the most underrated lever for energy expenditure: steps. Many people obsess over cardio sessions while their daily movement quietly crashes. Steps are sustainable, low fatigue, and repeatable, which makes them perfect for fat loss phases. A step target in the range of 8,000 to 12,000 per day works well for many people, but the best number is the one you can hit even on rough days. For advanced athletes, steps are also a control knob. Keeping steps consistent makes calorie adjustments cleaner because you're not guessing whether your background burn changed week to week. Cardio can be a powerful tool, but it must be programmed like training, not like punishment. Low to moderate intensity cardio can increase total output without crushing recovery, especially when you keep it in a zone where you can still speak short sentences. Higher intensity work can improve conditioning efficiently, but it adds fatigue and can reduce strength performance if you stack too much of it on top of hard lifting. A solid starting point for many lifters is 2 to 3 cardio sessions per week, paired with consistent steps while watching performance in the gym. If your lifts stall and your sleep worsens, you don't need more suffering, you need better balance. You've heard about the afterburn, known scientifically as excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. It's real, but it's not the miracle people sell it as. After intense sessions, your body uses extra energy to restore homeostasis, repair tissue, and replenish energy stores, so energy expenditure stays elevated for a while. For most workouts, that extra burn is relatively small compared with your total daily expenditure. The reason intensity still matters is not because the afterburn is huge, but because intense training can produce better fitness and muscle building signals in less time, which raises your long-term capacity to do more work. Recovery is not rest. It is the process that allows output to stay high. Poor sleep and chronic stress can lower metabolism indirectly by reducing movement and training quality and increasing hunger. When you sleep less, appetite-regulating hormones tend to shift in a direction that makes food more tempting and harder to stop eating. Your brain also gets worse at decision-making, so you choose convenience, you move less, and you start skipping the boring habits that make progress automatic. If you care about physique, sleep is not a luxury add-on. It is a performance variable that controls both your intake and your output. You can spot under-recovery early if you know what to watch. If your warm-ups feel heavier than they should, if your usual working weights suddenly feel like a grind, if your resting mood drops, or if you're waking up tired even after enough hours in bed, your system is overloaded. Another clue is a sudden drop in NEAT. You notice you're sitting more, skipping walks, or feeling lazy in a way that doesn't match your usual personality. That is not moral weakness. It is biology. The fix is usually reducing total stress for a week, not adding more volume because you feel behind. Overtraining is rare. Under-recovery is common. Overtraining is a longer-term syndrome where performance declines persist and recovery doesn't rebound with normal rest. Under-recovery is what happens when training stress, life stress, and calorie intake don't match your recovery capacity. The practical approach is to manage training volume like a budget. In a calorie deficit, your recovery budget shrinks, so you keep intensity reasonably high to maintain strength, but you reduce volume slightly and avoid piling on endless sets. In a surplus, the budget grows, so you can push volume and progress more aggressively. Programming for metabolic sustainability means you train hard enough to create adaptation, but not so hard that you sabotage steps, sleep, and consistency. A strong framework is 3 to 5 lifting days per week, each session focused on a handful of key movements, with most working sets ending close to failure while keeping form crisp. You progress by adding small amounts of load, adding reps within a target range, or adding a set when recovery is solid. During a cut, you aim to maintain strength on your main lifts while keeping weekly volume at a level you can recover from. During a lean bulk, you can gradually add volume and chase performance more aggressively. Supplements can support this system, but only a few actually matter. Creatine supports training performance and increases the amount of high-quality work you can do, which helps muscle gain over time. Caffeine can improve training output and perceived effort, but timing matters because late intake can wreck sleep and backfire metabolically. Protein powders are not magic. They are simply convenient protein, useful when real food is hard to fit in. Fiber supplements can help if your diet lacks plant foods, but they do not replace food quality. And the big one, metabolism boosters and fat burners are mostly noise, often with side effects and tiny real-world impact. Now put it all together into a strategy that makes metabolism predictable. Keep resistance training as the anchor because it protects muscle and keeps your body committed to performance. Use steps as the baseline movement that stays consistent across the week because it stabilizes your daily output. Add cardio as a targeted tool, not a punishment, and adjust it based on recovery and gym performance. Protect sleep like it's part of the program because it controls appetite, NEAT, and training quality. When these pieces line up, you stop guessing about metabolism and start steering it. Here's the takeaway you can actually use. If you want your metabolism working with you, stop chasing tricks and start managing the system. Train with intent 3 to 5 times per week, pushing sets close to failure so your body has a reason to keep muscle. Keep daily movement high and boringly consistent because steps protect your energy output more than random cardio bursts. Eat enough protein to defend muscle, enough carbs to train hard, and avoid cutting calories so aggressively that performance collapses. Protect sleep because poor recovery quietly lowers movement, appetite control, and training quality all at once. If progress stalls, don't add chaos. First check consistency, steps, training effort, and food intake across the whole week, not just good days. Make small adjustments, give them time, and let data guide you instead of emotions. When training, nutrition, and recovery are aligned, metabolism stops feeling unpredictable and starts responding exactly the way you expect. That's how long-term physique progress is actually built.